What up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. We have another anti-haul video, shelf cooking if you will. In these videos, what I try to do is focus on eating through the items that we already have on hand between our fridge, freezer, and pantry. Some people refer to this as reverse meal planning. So basically what you're gonna do is go through what you already have on hand, develop your meal plan, and then just supplement with items from the grocery store if you absolutely have to. We went to Costco and we went to Costco big. We spent $1,000 on May 1st. My goal was to stretch that $1,000 as far as I can, because in the past I would spend $1,000 at Costco, but then I would get excited and distracted by new recipes I wanted to try out and end up spending anywhere from $200 to $300 the weeks after at different wholesale clubs or grocery stores. So my goal was to stick to a budget of $100 to $125 each of the weeks after the Costco trip in order to just refill things like milk, eggs, and produce, basically. So in today's video, we're just continuing on that challenge. I think I've been doing this for 4 or 5 weeks now, and it's working out great. I am loving having those extra funds to use towards other savings goals of ours. And I gotta tell you, we're not just eating rice and beans over here, okay? We've gotten really creative with the recipes. We end things off with a viral recipe that John joins me for a taste test. I know how much you guys love those, so be sure to stick around for that. All of the recipes will be in the description box as well as timestamps down below. Without further ado, let's dive into the first recipe. You guys, I just wanted to pop in here live in action because one of my friends, who is also my neighbor, is going through it today. And so I offered to take dinner off of her hands. The problem is that we just got back from a road trip, and for us, we are pretty light on options right now because everything is in the freezer. First of all, I have like no garlic on hand. I don't have onion. I have bell pepper and jalapeno, but I don't have anything else. I have some carrots. I have like 4 or 5 carrots left. I don't have any ground beef. We're out of ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken. So the only thing I have on hand right now is sausage. We have like chicken sausage from Costco, the fully cooked style. I have some meatballs, and then I have a lot of chicken. Like I have chicken breasts, chicken thighs, and I could defrost them in a fast fashion. So, but then for sides, I don't have any black beans ready to go. So I couldn't really go with like a Southwest bake style because all I have are garbanzo beans in cans. I have like diced tomatoes, stuff like that. You're trying to come up with something for someone else to comfort them and make sure they're getting like a full balanced meal. It's a little difficult to pull things together. Curious to know if you guys have a go-to meal if someone in your life is either like postpartum or grieving or just having a rough day, feeling under the weather, whatever it is. Do you have something that you always turn to that you know you have the ingredients on hand for? Because I would love to know. These are some of the options that I ended up giving her, and I'll tell you which one she ended up going with, and we're gonna obviously make it together in this video. Shoyu chicken, that is something I always have stuff on hand for, but a lot of people that have never lived in Hawaii don't know what shoyu chicken is. It's basically like a less sweet teriyaki chicken, I guess you could say. So I offered that with some white rice because I always have white rice on hand, and some mixed stir-fried vegetables. The other thing I always have stuff on hand to make is like a baked pasta dish. So I was gonna do like a bow tie pasta, probably with some chicken sausage. I don't even have mozzarella on hand, but I was just gonna do shredded cheddar because I feel like that's fine. The other option I gave was kind of like a chicken gravy casserole over some rice with the mixed veggies. As mentioned, I don't have any ground anything on hand, so I don't have ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken. So I said I could do like a chili, but just sub in some shredded chicken instead. And then last but not least, the thing she ended up going with is I offered a sausage and bean soup. Probably gonna go with like kind of an Italian vibe, but I don't have, like I mentioned, I don't have onion, I don't have garlic. So we're gonna be making it work with the seasonings that we have on hand. I do have a bell pepper we can get in there. I do have some carrots we can get in there. And we're also gonna make some type of like an Italian loaf bread to serve with it that they can dip in. So if they wanna do the orzo or the bread or both, you know, that's what's gonna be happening. This is the chicken sausage we're gonna be using for this. I have some carrots, random, but I also pulled myself some romaine. This is the last of it so I can get our salad bar refilled for the last time. I have half a box of orzo that I'll be using to serve with it. I also found this spinach and kale mix, so I'm gonna kind of go like Tuscan vibes and include that in there. I've got frozen roasted butternut squash that'll be going in it. And super exciting, I found some garlic in the freezer that I had prepped for myself, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. I'm gonna be kind of doubling the recipe, but kind of not. It's gonna be somewhere between like 1.5 and double. I'll include the recipe for a normal portion down below, but we're gonna do 2 cans of diced tomatoes, and then I'm gonna do 3 cans of garbanzo beans. I have my chicken stock that's still thawing, so I'm gonna get to throwing some things in there. My least favorite thing in the world with cooking is draining and rinsing beans. Is that not wild? Like, most people hate normal things, but I cannot stand draining and rinsing beans. I also, for some reason, cannot stand refilling my hand wash. What is something that you guys cannot stand doing? Because I feel like a weirdo for both of these things. So I'm just dumping in 2 15-ounce cans of diced tomatoes, and then I will be right back after I drain and rinse those beans. All right, I'm dumping in some garbanzo beans, 3 whole cans of it, and those were 15-ounce cans. So I put about 2 handfuls, aka 2 cups of this roasted butternut squash in there. Doing about 1.5 cups, 2 cups of the spinach blend. If it was just me and John, I'd probably do a little bit more, but I don't know about their love for spinach. All right, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and peel all of these carrots. I'm only gonna use probably 2 or 3 in the soup, but I'm gonna peel it all because I'm going to shred them up for myself for the salad bar. Did you guys know when you're peeling, you can go back and forth like this? I didn't know that until recently, and I keep forgetting about it. But honestly, I wonder if it like wastes a little good carrot. But the good news is it's not really wasted because I save veggie scraps for myself for when I make homemade turkey stock and stuff. I always clean my produce because we juice with it. We'll also toss in the little ends that we're not using. So you got about 2 cups of diced carrots, I would say. All right, so I have 7 sausage links here. If you're just doing for one batch, I'd say like 5 is perfectly fine. You could also substitute like a pound of Italian sausage. If you were doing Italian sausage, you'd probably want to cook that first. But I love getting the fully cooked sausage for soup for this purpose, because then I can just dump it in the crock pot, have it slow cook all day. The flavors work together, it's perfect. I also just got some water boiling because I'm gonna go ahead and cook the orzo now because I have time. You could also just cook it like 15-20 minutes before you're gonna serve the dinner is another option. Okay, so I just popped half a box of orzo that I had left in my pantry inside the boiling hot tub. I salted the water and I'm gonna cook it 9 minutes. I'm putting about 4 cloves of garlic in there. And then we have all of these homemade chicken stocks, which are like halfway thawed. Probably the equivalent of like, I'd say 7 cups, maybe 6. So I'm gonna let that cook on low. About an hour, when this starts to thaw even more, I'll start mixing everything together and then we will season it. If I had sun-dried tomatoes, best believe those would be going in the hot tub, but we don't have those. If you have it, please add that. That would be a good idea. The lid is not gonna sit nicely on this, but that's totally fine. We have it on low, just as a reminder. I've probably said it 77 times, sorry about that. Okay guys, so this is what I do with pasta. I drop it in there after it's been drained, and then I just pop a little oil in there, probably like a tablespoon or 2, and just toss it so it doesn't stick. And then I will just store this in the fridge while we wait on the soup. Now, before I get started on the bread that's gonna be going with the soup, I'm just going to prep myself a salad for lunch today. I'm gonna prep a salad for John tomorrow, or it could be me if he doesn't feel like taking it. And then I have, since I'm gonna have the deli turkey out, because that's what we're gonna be using on the salad, I'm gonna go ahead and make John a couple sandwiches. Gotta give the man options, you know. He usually just takes leftovers, like he'll probably take the soup too, but sometimes he takes sandwiches to work for the busier days. And I wanna say tomorrow they have something going on the dock. He works in the ship repair industry. So some days he has to get out on the dock and he can't do like a hot lunch. So sandwiches are good for days like that. Really push the limit of my cutting board with this batch here, but that's okay. I wash the outside of my lettuce when I get it, but I also like to wash it again once it's chopped up because I feel like there can be lots of stuff that gets inside those leaves, so I just like to wash it twice. I don't know if that is extra. Actually, I do know that it is extra because everything that I do in life is extra. I use the fruit and veggie wash from Trader Joe's, which I heard is getting discontinued, and I am brokenhearted, but I'm gonna try some alternatives. That's why it's all sudsy. I do not use Dawn. Somebody joked on one of my posts that they thought I was using dish soap. I'm gonna get it to the sink and get a little more water and rinse it off. Okay, so I'm gonna let this kind of drip dry in my homemade salad spinner. I need to invest in an actual salad spinner. I also have this that'll get transferred to after. I have 3 cucumbers left over, so we are gonna get those diced. Gonna get a little lettuce in here. I also have this coleslaw mix that I think will be good to give it a little extra crunch. And in John's over here, I'm gonna put some lettuce down. I also grabbed myself a paper towel. Here's the little top of this guy. So we'll do some cucumbers in his. Lots on mine. I love cucumbers. Now I'm gonna do a little shredded carrot, even though there's some in that coleslaw mix. I have some leftover toppings from when we went on a road trip, so I'm just gonna finish those off in there. I have some bacon bits and a little bit of cheese. That finishes off that container, which is always nice. We literally have 3 pieces of salami left, so that's exciting, emptying that out. Just do half to each of us. I'll probably go a little heavier on his for tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just doing a honey mustard dressing. Drizzle a little on mine. All right, now we got the bread. I have some Kobe and Monterey Jack cheese. I'm gonna do 2 slices because I don't have that much turkey, so we'll make him happy with some of that. Now, I do not like to put condiment on the bread unless we're eating the sandwich right away. So I'm just gonna put a little mayonnaise and a little honey mustard on top of the cheese. That way it doesn't touch the bread. And then I'll just put down these 3 slices and the extra tidbits. And I'm just gonna push it down so it spreads out a little. He has himself sandwich, soup, and salad to take to work tomorrow. I am doubling this recipe because I'm gonna have some for us and some for my friend. So I have 2.5 cups of water in there, but you will see a recipe for 1 loaf down below. I'm doing 4.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast in that warm water, and the water is about 110 degrees. And then I just stir this up. I do 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar. The internet says that helps activate the yeast. I'm sure it also sweetens the bread a little, which is great. And then I'm gonna set this on the back counter to let it foam up a little bit. Now, I really like using bread flour in things. So I'm gonna use a cup of bread flour to 6 cups of all-purpose flour. I would honestly probably make this ratio a little closer, but I don't have much bread flour left. So we're gonna do a cup of bread flour in there. We're gonna do 3 teaspoons of salt, and I like to use pink Himalayan salt when I bake. We will work on getting 6 cups of all-purpose flour in here. If you don't have bread flour, you could just go with 7 cups of all-purpose flour. Well, you would do 3.5 because I'm doing a double batch. Looks like I didn't get that dough hook on there very well. Obviously make a mess on your counter, that is essential. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this bad boy on, and then you'll see me streaming this in once it gets a little bit foamier. It's starting to get foamy, but it's not there yet, so I'm gonna let this stir together first, and then I'll slowly be streaming in the water, and then 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right, you guys saw how easy the KitchenAid mixer made that for me. I just mixed it until the dough pulled away from the sides, cleaned the bowl for me and everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and grease this bowl with a little avocado oil spray, but you could use the olive oil. I'm gonna cover this up, and we're just gonna let this rise for about an hour. If you wanted to speed up the process, or if your house is extra cold, you could also do this in the oven with just the light on. I wouldn't put this in the oven, obviously, so it can warm up a little bit. But my house is in Florida. We are located in Florida, so we're good on the heat. All right, guys, coming back to this soup over here. It's probably been, oh, my crock pot tells me it's been an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stirred in. Most of it melted. We got about half of each of these clumps melted, so I'm gonna push them down towards the bottom to get a little more heat. So I can season this guy. I'm gonna put in the equivalent of maybe a teaspoon of smoked paprika. I also have this seasoning blend from Trader Joe's. It's one of my favorites, Aglio Olio. I have probably the equivalent of like a teaspoon left in there. So I'm gonna finish that off. I have a backup of it in my pantry. Can never go too long without that. I'm gonna do a little bit of onion powder, probably a teaspoon of that as well. Then about a teaspoon of oregano. I would probably do 2 teaspoons of that had I not done the Italian seasoning. And I'm just gonna blend that all together. I'm also gonna grab some salt and pepper, and then we'll check this for seasoning at the end too, but I just wanna get some of it in there so it can start flavoring together. Get that covered, and we will come back to it in a couple hours to check for seasonings and see how it's doing. All right, you guys, I'm slapping a silicone mat on this baking sheet. We have our dough that has definitely doubled in size. I'm gonna go wash my phalanges real quick. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and split this into 2 loaves. Doesn't need to be perfect. And whichever one ends up looking prettier is the one my friend's gonna get. I have a feeling it'll be this guy. I think I kind of overworked this one. I'm gonna go ahead and score the bread, and then I'm gonna cover this and let this rise for another half hour. Okay, the children are all in the living room, so you're probably gonna hear them, but we're going to preheat the oven, and then we're gonna be doing something a little interesting. I am going to get a sheet pan in while it preheats. This is a nice deep sheet pan. I'm gonna put that in the bottom, and it's gonna heat up while the oven preheats. And then we're gonna get some water in there, and that's gonna create a steam for the bread when we pop the bread in. Now I have a cup of hot water that is going into that bad boy down there. And here is the bread, and that is gonna bake for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. Okay, the bread is looking nice and golden here. I am gonna go ahead and brush it with some butter. This is unsalted butter, by the way. Beautiful. Which one of these would you give to your friend? Let me know. Would you give them the real thick one over here? Or would you give them the one that looks a little more civilized? Sound off down below. The children are awake with their volume and violence, so just be aware of that. John is here with his volume and violence as well.
Whoa!
Whoa, the accusations are strong. So the soup is done, you guys. It is absolutely delicious. I ended up increasing the paprika a little bit, and then I also did a little more Italian seasoning and some salt and peps, and it came out really good. So I'm gonna package this up for her. We're gonna save some for us. And then I wanna show you the beautiful bread. Now that it's cooled off, we're gonna slice ours open. John, which one of these do you think I should give her? I'll let you decide.
The pretty one.
Which one's the pretty one to you? This is probably prettier, right?
The prettier, well, I mean, yeah, sure. The one on the left was more presentable.
I found these really cool bags. They're made out of beeswax, organic beeswax. It's from a small shop, family-owned business. I will link them down below. I actually found it through Instagram. And this is really cool because it like folds up and almost kind of seals itself. And it's supposed to help the bread from molding. We eat bread so fast that that's never a concern. This one will be ours, and I'm gonna crack her in half here. It's so soft on the outside, but like perfectly golden brown. Ooh, you guys, look at that texture on that. Piece of beaut, clack. We're gonna slice her open. John wanted a piece of it.
That's right.
This is gonna be, I think this is gonna be like my go-to bread from now on. I feel like I say that every time I make a new style, but this looks good. Here, Johnny boy.
Oh.
That's good. Put some good butter on there. Yeah?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
What would you give it out of a 10?
More, please.
More, please.
I'm gonna go 9.
We've got that delicious bread that we made. I'm gonna put some softened Kerrygold Irish butter. I save it for situations like this, like when I have real good bread, and I'm not gonna go shy. Okay, if you thought I was gonna go shy on the butter, you would have been wrong. Butter is one of my favorite things in the world. I would not disrespect this bread like this and not give it the butter that it deserves. Since we got the bread, I'm only gonna do a little bit of orzo in there. I already gave my neighbor her portion of this. So what you see is the leftover. I gave her 3 decent sized containers, like meal prep containers. I'm just sprinkling a little Parmesan on there. I already heard back from my neighbor because she ate a couple hours ago, and she said this was absolute fire. I also gave her the bread. She said the bread was phenomenal. I told her it's a problem. She said she could eat an entire loaf in one sitting, and I said that's exactly why it's a problem. We are going to make a very simple, easy crock pot meal. So I have a dented can of jellied cranberry sauce left over from like Thanksgiving. I've also got an orange, but you could probably do like lemon if you have that on hand. I have a very sus looking bell pepper, green bell pepper. I don't know what this is gonna look like when we crack inside it, but we will see. If you had an onion, I would also do onion. We're gonna put down just like a splash of shoyu, AKA soy sauce, maybe a couple tablespoons of that. Just a tiny bit of Dijon. We are not big Dijon fans. We are also going to zest this orange right into the hot tub. I did some type of like a cranberry orange vibe last year, and it came out really, really good. Looking good so far. I think we can save this. I'm only gonna do about half of a bell pepper, and then the other half I'm gonna save probably to make some like egg muffins or something. If you like spice, jalapeno and cranberry are really good together too. So if you had a jalapeno on hand or like a serrano pepper, that would also be great. So I just like cut my orange into smaller slices. These are great to go down to your garbage disposal. Just do a couple at a time though, you don't want to clog it. But they'll make the kitchen smell nice and fresh. You could also, with like leftover oranges, you could do like a little simmer pot on the stove. I love doing that, and this is a great one for summer vibes. You can do simmer pots in the crock pot too. I have a small like dip size crock pot, and I'll do like leftover oranges like this, leftover things from juicing, and I'll just add whatever vibes I'm going for. So during the fall, I'll usually do like cinnamon sticks. During summer, if I have like dried lavender. So last, for the sauce part, I'm gonna go ahead and add in that jarred jellied cranberry sauce. And then I'm gonna take a whisk and just do my best to kind of whisk that together a little bit. At the end, you can add some cornstarch slurry to it. I usually skip that step because I never think it's that serious. But if you do want like a really delicious sauce, that would be an option. So I have, I think, about 4 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Doing some salt and pepper on there. I'm also gonna do this everything but the leftovers blend. It's got like onion, garlic, celery, stuff like that in there. It's almost like a poultry seasoning. I get it at Trader Joe's, it's really good. Some years they don't have it, so just keep an eye out. And I always grab 2 when I do see it. I'm gonna put the seasoned side down, wash my hands, and then we will season the other side. I like doing chicken thighs in the crock pot because I feel like they don't dry out as easy as like a chicken breast does, but I always cook chicken on slow in the crock pot. All right, I'm gonna cover this, cook it on low for probably about 3-4 hours. This is gonna get divvied out to the kids for their food, and then I'm gonna store the leftovers to come up with a plan for us. Okay guys, we're coming out to my garage fridge because my indoor fridge is looking real bare. Like I have no protein whatsoever. I knew in here I had some protein to look at. So for lunch today, I'm probably gonna end up dipping into these. These are like my favorite. So I'm probably gonna have that for lunch. And you guys have seen that a million times. I am gonna take out these breakfast links because I'm gonna make some McGriddle bowls in this video. I have a bunch of oranges still. That'll probably be for juicing. I also bought these, but they're good till July. I'm probably gonna save these for a night where I'm like stressed. You know, actually these might be good in the McGriddle things because they're maple and bourbon. Maybe I'll put these in the McGriddle bowls instead of the breakfast sausage. That might be kind of fun. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll save the breakfast sausage for another situation. We'll try these out. I have heard mixed reviews, so I'm a little nervous, but maybe with the vibe that I'm doing, it'll be good. So we're gonna grab that. Bottom is empty. You guys can see we're really, really bare up in here. We've just got the cream cheese and butter. We've got more butter, some crescent rolls, that's good to know. Cinnamon rolls, these drinks, will she ever drink them? No one knows. This is completely empty. It used to have mangoes in it, but we ate through those. So we're definitely need a refill. We're doing really good though, I'm proud of us. We are doing really good getting through all of this, so that's exciting. And here is the outside freezer. What do we got going on? Up here, I actually worked through some of the chicken and turkey stock. So we only have 3 of those left, and then I have a lobster bisque. In here, I'm gonna pull myself 2 chicken breasts. We still have quite a bit of chicken, so we are good for protein for a while, which helps on keeping with that $100 budget, I'll tell you. Lots of chicken thighs, a few more chicken breasts, and I also have some beef sausage here. In this drawer, we have a lot of frozen pizza left. I think we got like 7 or 8 of those left. This drawer is broken, so I'm not gonna bother opening it, but this has like ready-made stuff that I just need to dump in the crock pot after thawing. So I have beef and broccoli. I know I have a pork in there, and then I have 3 different freezer soups. This is looking great. If we need a quick dinner, we have some of these Barber foods that you can just air fry. I really need to work. Oh, this is good until 2026. But if anybody has any recommendations for something I can do with this, I'm thinking just like make some breakfast with it and like crack an egg over it. Maybe do like some poached eggs on it. I don't know. Tell me what I should do. Down here, this is like the treat drawer. Nothing's really changed in here. We've been doing really good at not dipping into treats. And last but not least, we have a bunch of steak, which I kind of keep forgetting about. So this could probably be a treat at some point this weekend or something. But anyways, that's everything in the outside freezer. All right, you guys, I saw an Instagram reel where someone made like a McGriddle breakfast bowl, and that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do it shelf cooking style and use the things we have on hand. So you guys saw I grabbed these maple and bourbon chicken meatballs. So what I'm gonna do is get these probably in the air fryer. I'm assuming there's air fryer instructions. There usually is. Yeah, 375 for 6 minutes. Mine does 370 or 380. I think I'll just go 380 for 6 minutes on these guys. I'll do like 16 meatballs because I think I'm gonna try and get 4 of these prepped bowls for us. The problem is I don't have many eggs left. I'm down to only 5 eggs. We are going to BJ's today, so we're gonna be able to refill eggs, but I'll probably need 4 to make scrambled eggs for these bowls, and then I'm gonna need 1 for the pancake mix. What I'm gonna do in order to stretch the eggs a little bit is I'm gonna add some Greek yogurt. For the pancakes, we're gonna be using up from the pantry some of these Kodiak flapjack mix, power cakes if you will. They have a lot of protein. We're also gonna be adding in some chia seeds and hemp hearts that I had in my fridge. And then I'm gonna use almond milk just so I can work through it. We also have some maple syrup because we wanna go like a McGriddle vibe, so we're gonna put maple syrup directly in the batter. I'm also gonna be adding some cinnamon and a little vanilla extract because my mama taught me you never make pancakes without adding some vanilla extract, even if it's a box mix. So what we're gonna be doing is sheet pan pancakes because I don't have time to be standing over a stove. So I'm gonna go with sheet pan pancakes instead. I put down a silicone mat for myself. I am also going to spray it with some avocado oil. We are gonna go ahead and get this party started. All right, so I got 2 cups of the pancake mixture down. I'm gonna sprinkle in a little bit of the cinnamon in there. I'm dropping in 2 tablespoons of chia seed and 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts. That's it for the dry ingredients, so I'm just gonna give that a little stir. We're gonna do a cup of the almond milk. I did a tablespoon of avocado oil. I'm gonna do a splash of vanilla extract, probably like a teaspoon or 2 of that. I've got 1/3 cup going in of pure maple syrup. That egg is rolling. And then last but not least, we have a chicken baby, AKA an egg. All right, that's everything going in there. I totally didn't record this, but I was spreading this out. I was also saying that I've seen people on the gram make like scrambled pancakes. I haven't done it myself yet, but if you wanted to get like extra fun, that would be a vibe in this too. But I'm basically just making sure it's semi-even. We're gonna get this in the oven for 18 to 20 minutes. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Now there's something you guys need to know about me, and that is that I hate to create dishes. So most times when I make scrambled eggs, I just pop the eggs and all of the ingredients directly into a cold pan. I do not have the heat on right now. I put some avocado oil down. To stretch those eggs out, I'm gonna do just a splash of heavy cream, probably like, I don't know, 1/4 cup, if that, maybe 1/3 cup. I'm also gonna do maybe 1/4 cup of, I just splashed Greek yogurt all over me, good. About 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt, thriving over here. We're gonna do some salt and pepper. I'm also gonna do a little paprika in there. I feel like the paprika will go with the vibes of the sweet and savory. And then I just take a silicone whisk so I don't mess up my nonstick skillet. and I whisk it directly inside the skillet. All right, I have that on high to heat up, and then I'll probably kick it down to medium once it heats up, and then I can start scrambling the egg. All right, those are looking perfect. I'm gonna add in about a cup of cream cheese. Nope, that's not cream cheese, Kate. Sharp cheddar cheese that we shredded up, because I'm not eating eggs without cheese in it. Sorry, not sorry. Plus it'll give them a little more volume. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that cruise on the stove. I'm gonna just turn the heat off, and then we will assemble our bowls. Okay, I'm glad I checked on these because they only ended up taking about 14 minutes. So I'd give yourself like 14 to 18, just depending on how thin you make it. I think that makes a difference. So we're gonna get this cooled and then we'll slice it up. What's wild is I put this in for like a serving size, and it said that this makes 4 servings, which seems pretty wild to me. Okay, and then we're just gonna build those boxes. These little bento boxes are working out perfect, but what I was thinking is I'm gonna transfer the meatballs all to one section, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of that maple syrup right inside here. That way we can kind of dippy dip if we want to, combine things, make it like a true McGriddle bowl. There you have it, a little McGriddle bento box. Breakfast is ready for the next 2 days for us. I have a feeling we're gonna have leftovers of those pancakes, because that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot of pancakes, but maybe we'll get really hungry and it'll work out. Lately in the afternoons, I've been wanting a little pick-me-up, but I haven't been wanting to brew espresso, so I've been turning to this matcha powder that I had purchased at Costco last month, and it's been awesome. But what's funny, why I'm showing this bag of maca right now, is because I had asked John, hey, can you go grab me the matcha powder from the pantry? And he first brought me the maca powder, and I was just laughing because I set the poor man up for failure, because the matcha powder and the maca powder are on the same shelf and are only missing a couple letters from one another, so I just thought it was funny. Anyways, all you have to do with this is get about a cup of whatever your favorite milk is. I'm using an unsweetened almond milk with vanilla flavoring, and then you take half a teaspoon of the matcha powder and pour it right into the milk. I like to go ahead and take my frother. I have one of those little handheld frothers, and just froth that matcha powder into the milk until it's completely smooth. Before I add any sweeteners or ice or anything like that, I want to make sure that there's no clumps and it's all worked through. And then I just add in a little bit of whatever syrup I want. So today I'm doing an ube version, but in the past I've done like French vanilla. I've even done white chocolate before. White chocolate and matcha is really good. So I'll add just a little bit of the Monin syrups. Those are my favorite. Then I just use the frother one more time to blend it all up. I had also recently purchased some lavender lemonade whipped cream from Target. Well, it was probably a couple months ago at this point, and there is some vibe with matcha and lavender, I gotta tell you guys. I know lavender lemonade kind of sounds weird, but I don't know, it works. I also have a peach whipped cream that I've put on it before that is also really delicious, but I just serve it over some crushed ice, mix it all together, top it with that whipped cream, and it's been such a vibe in the afternoons. Okay, friends, we're headed into the fridge. Let's take a look how we did before we need to refill. I just placed a BJ's order, wanted to show off how we did. So for produce, this is all that's left, which is crazy for us. Those cuties should last a week, so I did not order more cuties to stay on budget. A little lemon and lime left, a little apple left, could be for snacking or juicing. Up top is looking real good, you guys. The jar graveyard is really coming down. So we've got some Parmesan cheese, some homemade marinara. I have some banana pepper rings. I know exactly what I'm gonna do with these. Cannot decide what I want to do with that exactly, besides eating it like a dip. Like, I feel like I could come up with something with that. I also have beef and chicken base. It's kind of like a bouillon situation. I have some of the delicious 4 Fruits preserves. I love that stuff. I have some applesauce and almond butter, and then also some maple syrup. Applesauce, I'm thinking bake something. Also, my kids just love applesauce, so I might just give it to them. Over here, we just have prepped food for them. So John made them some really adorable, let me show you. We have a musubi mold. You can make Mickey Mouse musubis. And he formed some rice patties for the kids in the shape of Mickey Mouse. We have some extra rice, some extra butternut squash back there. This is leftover chicken that you guys saw me make and some leftover pasta. This is the kids' dinner already prepped and some banana bread that's left over for them for breakfast. I had made another batch. I have a little bit of salad left over. It's just cucumber, shredded carrot, and the lettuce. We've got a loaf of bread. These are the breakfast bowls that I made. I still have this coffee. I should just start drinking that in the morning to get rid of it. I have about half of this Greek yogurt left, which really I just make in the morning for the kids. We've got some milks over there. In this drawer, I have all the hemp hearts, chia seeds, all of that stuff. I have those meatballs you guys saw me make, and then we have some chicken sausage left. Down here, we've got a little snack section. So I've got those little Greek yogurt bars I love, as well as a Greek yogurt. I've got tortillas over here, some blue cheese. I have some walnuts. Not sure what I want to do with that. Maybe bake with it. I have some Laughing Cow cheeses I should be working through. We've got some sliced cheese and some shredded cheese. I want to tell you guys that I cleaned my fridge because of the fact that it was so bare. It's easier to clean. But do you think that like when they designed these fridges, they tested it out for cleaning? Because I swear, some of these spots are incredibly difficult to clean. It's like, could someone have tested that? Look how good this is looking, you guys. The sauce graveyard is actually clearing out. So in the top, I've just got like butter. I have bacon fat. I have some yeast and some of this maple butter from Trader Joe's. I had no idea that was in there. I'm gonna start using that in the morning. I have kind of like jarred random things over here, some sauces. Down here's condiments and dressings. I mean, I'm trying to work through some stuff like this one right here I need to work through, so I gotta come up with something for that. But we did pretty good clearing this out, and I'm about to refill it from BJ's T-3 hours. John got some chicken in the crock pot for us. He put some chicken stock and then some seasoning, 4 chicken breasts. We're gonna cook this on high, and then I'm gonna shred it up, and that's gonna be part of the cobbler. And now we're gonna work on a gravy for it, but you could easily just do like a cream of chicken soup. That way later, it can just be dump and go when I have less time.
In the morning, when you walk away, my heart drops to the floor. They said it would get easier, but I don't know who for. Days move faster now, I swear, I can feel them slip away. But some things last forever, the love that never fades. It's easy to make promises for the young and free, but you kept every word you said, and you stayed true to me. We lean into the great beyond, there's more love yet to make. 'Cause some things last forever, but love that never fades.
All right, you guys, so we are making a viral recipe of chicken cobbler. And it's using this Cheddar Bay biscuit mix as a top. I got at like, I don't remember, BJ's or Sam's Club. So it came with 4 packs. I'm gonna use one of the packs, one of the seasoning kits. And I'll link the recipe that I watched down below. Got 2 cups of milk going in. And we're just gonna use a hand mixer to combine that. Okay, and I've got about a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use the silicone spatula to work that cheese through there. I'm gonna set this to the side, and then what we're gonna do is go shred up our chicken. Let's head over to the crock pot. Here's that chicken that I'm gonna steal a breast for my kids. Just put it in this little container for myself. And then I like to just take my hand mixer and just shred up the chicken that way. Just make sure you go very slow and you're careful not to splash yourself. All right, now the recipe calls for an entire stick of butter, but I went with half a stick because I just felt like a stick is kind of a lot. And I feel like our chicken is very flavorful with everything we did with it, so I just don't think it's necessary to do a full stick. I'm gonna do all 3 of those chicken breasts in there. Now the recipe also called to do gravy, or technically the recipe called to do a cream of chicken soup plus a cup of chicken stock. I just feel like that's gonna make it very soupy. So we're really, as usual, going off the rails over here. But it usually pays off with me, so stick around, we'll see. We're gonna move over to another counter now to assemble the rest of it. We are gonna go ahead and just swirl that chicken around in that melted butter. Now I have a big old bag to use up of the frozen vegetables from Costco. I'm just gonna do like 3 to 4 cups of it. All right, now we are gonna season these vegetables. I'm using everything but the leftover seasoning. I've seen other people use like garlic powder, onion powder. This kind of has all of that. You could do like a poultry seasoning or just your favorite seasoning blend. And then I'm gonna do black pepper. I'm not gonna do salt because we're about to pour gravy on it and that has salt in it. All right, now the recipe that I watched, she did a can of cream of chicken mixed with some chicken stock. We are doing the homemade gravy instead. So I'm gonna do 4-ish cups, 3 to 4 cups of the gravy because I think a can of cream of chicken is like 16 ounces-ish, maybe 10. We're just gonna do whatever, okay? We're going off the rails. If you've never been to one of my videos before, this is a common occurrence. We don't stay on the path. My life is like a roller coaster that would not pass inspection, you know? Now, she specifically said you do not stir it, so we're not gonna stir it. We're gonna leave it just like that. All right, now last but not least, we have the Cheddar Bay biscuit mix. Okay, and I'm just gonna lightly spread that to make it go to the edge. All right, now there we have it. I have seen some variations where people put more melted butter on top, but I just think this is fine. So we're gonna stick this in a 350-degree preheated oven. It says that it can take an hour or more. This is a 9 by 13 baking dish in case anybody was wondering. We're just shy of an hour, but I just peeked in on it. So this was about 50 minutes. And it looks really good to me. I think this is perfect. So I'm gonna let this cool for probably 5-10 minutes. And then we will dig in and do a taste test. Let's crack into this and see what it looks like. It's very soupy, which is funny because I didn't even do the full amount of liquid. Oh, that does look so good though. Friends, look at this. Move your face. Move your face.
Move your face.
We have a taste test happening. John hasn't been able to join during the anti-haul videos because life has just been insane.
Life is wild.
Like, I can't even describe it. So like at night, we're both like eating in separate rooms, like grabbing, we're like just throwing it down the gullet. You know. Also, I have a confession I gotta make, John. Okay.
You've already tried it.
No.
Oh.
Listen, it's all about integrity here, okay? I don't know how to turn off the crock pot. And I want to talk about it.
Wait, what?
This crock pot, I'm used to the crock pots that have just the little dial that it's like low, high, warm, off. They're just like a rotary telephone. I know what to do with that. Some of you kids probably don't even know what a rotary telephone is.
Does anyone even know what a rotary is?
Yeah, if you're from New England, you call it a rotary. Some people call it a roundabout. But when we lived in New Jersey, they called it a traffic circle. Excuse me. Can you not simplify it that much? Come on now. Anyways, back to the crock pot, John.
Back to the crock pot, Kate.
It's a digital crock pot, and I love it so much. It's the coolest thing ever because you can like schedule the meals, you can change the temperature, you can do all these things on it. I have no idea how to just simply shut it off. So what I do is just unplug it. And I wanted to talk about it because
that works.
It does work, but it just feels wrong. Like I have a cooking channel. I'm on YouTube telling people my recipes, sharing how I cook things, strategies, techniques.
Listen.
And I can't shut off a crock pot.
So it's a technological crock pot.
Yeah, and you're IT. So after, could you maybe give me a training course on how to shut it off? Because I know you've done it before.
Yes. Will you remember?
Probably not.
I don't know.
Okay, anyways, we are going to try. People are I've seen it called a few different things. Cheddar Bay biscuit, chicken pot pie. Some people are calling it chicken cobbler. I went a little off the rails as usual. We're going to see. I'm like excited because it looks, oh, the steam. It looks like a vibe. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, you got peas in here?
That's correct, sir. John loves peas. They're like my least favorite vegetable. Maybe not my least favorite, but I like them. I like most vegetables.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, that is classified as the most delicious chicken pot pie you will ever have.
Really? Like you like that better than when we do it with the crescent roll?
Yes.
Like definitely, right?
100% better.
There's so many things I love about this. First of all, the biscuit is like the perfect amount, like the ratio. Because with crescent roll, the problem is it's thinner. Even pie crust that people put on there, I feel like is thinner than this situation. I think the biscuit is perfection. Love the cheese. Love the cheese being in the biscuit. Not too much, not too little, perfect amount. It's seasoned to perfection. Like it's not overbearing. It's just good comfort. This would be perfect during fall, but I'm loving it right now. We had an intermission because Stella just got grounded. She was mouthing off at the camera. Anyways, what were we talking about?
You're saying it's a fall vibe, but I'm saying it's an everyday vibe.
Okay, that's aggressive. You relax.
This is 1,000% John approved.
1,000%.
You need to make this.
As I was putting it together, I was like, this is like John.
This is a meme.
This is John. I truly do not think you need to do a full stick of butter. The recipe called for a full stick of butter on the bottom.
What did you do?
I did half a stick of butter.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think you need to go full stick. I personally don't, but do what you want. It's your kitchen. This is my kitchen. I think the half a stick was more than sufficient because as long as your chicken is seasoned, you good.
And gravy.
The gravy, so good. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, John. While I was like plating this, as I was scooping it out, it hit my head, boom, concussion, that I want cream cheese in it. I don't know why, but I want cream cheese, okay?
To make it like thicker?
I think so because I did like heavy cream in the gravy and that made it like soup, but something in me is calling out that if I ever made this again, I'd go like 4 ounces of cream cheese. I'd do it.
Well, okay, so I was going to give this a 10.
But now that I said that,
now it's a 9.5.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's like a 9 because this, yeah, it's just, this is not
disrespectful to
it's
that
not
meal.
disrespectful. I don't want to say it's not my cup of tea. It's delicious. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like, that's not the number one thing I would pick out. What I love about this is this could be customized a bunch of ways. I almost actually took, because we have some random soup in the pantry that we never have, and they're kind of like chili vibes. Like they have chili beans and potatoes and like chunks of steak. They're like Campbell's chunky soups, and I'm like, that would probably be good if you poured that in the bottom and then put this biscuit topping over it. But John specifically was like, I want gravy. As soon as like I told him what the normal way to make it is, he's like, please make your gravy. So we did that. I think this is a must make. I understand why this is a viral recipe. I truly do. But I think...
is it viral? Sorry, I'm not on social media. Is it viral just like this?
No, they do it a little bit different. I've seen it a variety of ways. So the number one way that I've seen it is just to do a whole stick of butter at the bottom of a casserole dish.
That's a lot of butter.
It's a lot of butter. Mix in 3 to 4 cups of rotisserie chicken. Put the mixed veggies like we did. Then the next step, I've seen a couple different variations. Some people just go straight biscuit mix on top of that. Then some people I've seen do cream of chicken with chicken stock or cream of chicken with milk. And they put like basically a gravy, just like a faster version.
Right.
Then they do the biscuit mix. I also saw some people pouring more butter on the top of the biscuit mix when they baked it. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe if you do want to do a full stick of butter, you could do the half stick on the bottom with the chicken and then do the other half stick on top on the biscuit if you want it to be like super indulgent. I don't blame you. Do what you want. But I think this way is perfect. I truly do. But like I said, I would probably want cream cheese. Something about it is just making me want cream cheese. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know why I'm the way I am, but it is who I am. This is it. Love me. Okay? I am who I am. I don't know what to tell you. So 9 from me, 9.5 from this guy. All right, we're going to get that feedback over to corporate. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and spending part of your day with us. It means the absolute world to us. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it, because you don't know when the algorithm's going to bring you back. So you don't want to lose us. Make sure you subscribe. I hope we delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail. And I hope you have a magical day. Bye.